early to mid-April, and I could feel the heat starting to turn. We had a couple cold days, which was nice, and it's starting to turn. We're like, it's warm out. It's nice. It's like 72, but it's like that heat here, the sun here, I should say. It just hits different. Meanwhile, the last day or two, as far as mental health, dealing with my child, etc., have been better, but I haven't been especially prolific in art because I've been having to watch the child from morning until night. And then when I'm done, I'm trying to get other things done, housework, rest, and I've been dealing with stuff for school and potential preschool / daycare, which will be very beneficial in the future, but right now is taking up all of my free time. I'm not at my mom's house. I went to my mom's house. She's watching the kid, and I was going to try to go see Godzilla finally, but there's no early shows. I also forgot to bring my iPad, so I can't do any artwork. I mean, I can doodle on a piece of paper, but I can't do any meaningful artwork. And the other thing was I have a bunch of paperwork to do that I need to get done today so that I can drop it off at the preschool. And so I think I'm gonna go take that and sit down at a coffee shop or a bagel place or something and drink coffee and eat that, and I'll eat my papers. But in the meantime, there's a bunch of discount stores around here that I'm checking just to do something other than all those things I just said. Disappointing, nothing at Ross or Burlington. 1:30, I went to another discount store, found nothing. Then I went to Target to try to get Gatorade for Tech Advisor Azuki, who is just wiped, working like 12-hour days and barely sleeping. And when I was there, I found two of the turtle figures I was looking for. Well, actually, that's not true. I found one of the turtle figures I was looking for, one I didn't know existed that I got. The four, they call it VHS Ultimate Editions or whatever. They didn't have any of those, but I'm not looking that gift horse. I'm not looking it in the mouth. Here, get in the car with me. Oh, it's really hot in here. So anyway, the other thing I've been doing, holy cow, it's hot in here. How is it so hot in here? Let me roll down the windows. I got a coffee, a honey coffee from this place called Better Buzz, which is, I guess, like a local competitor with Starbucks. They're not bad. Take a really long time, though. That's what I find. All the coffee shops that are not Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts take about 1,000 years to get a coffee. That's the downside, and often a little bit more expensive. Very good, and I like supporting, competitors to Starbucks, but I digress. And I sat down and started doing the paperwork for the new preschool, school, daycare thing. More paperwork than the public school I had to fill out. And I may or may not have to go back to the doctor for a third time this year, even though she's healthy, just to be like, is she still healthy? You sure? Sign this. Weird questions, like a lot of just repetitive. Like if I put this in the computer, just put my name and address, fill it out and everything. But like I had to fill it out 50 times, and like the address and phone number of her dentist. And it's like, are you gonna drive her to the dentist? Like, what do you need the address? What phone carrier we have? We're on T-Mobile. Does that help if she falls or I need to pick her up early? I don't understand. But anyway, I was working on that and I didn't finish it, but I'll work on it some more later. I'm heading to pick her up. And yes. Thursday, late afternoon. Been a decent day. Yesterday, I did the inks on one of the 5 sketch cards I'm working on. It's technically the last one, except that I wanted to redo the first one because it's just terrible. I went back and forth on how I was going to handle that. I did a quick sketch like with a marker on a piece of paper for redoing the first one. I'm like, oh, that's simple but good and whatever. And then today I was able to kind of draw a little bit in my iPad while the kid was at gymnastics. Not great. I kind of started off being like, oh, this is fine, and then I redid it like 4 times and I didn't finish it, and it was just like, so I'm gonna have to go back to that. But those 5 sketch cards are more or less, the hard part's done, sort of. And then I have to finish the Red Ranger commission, and then 6 other sketch cards that I've committed to. Beyond that, I have some verbal commitments of sketch cards. And the 10 I owe to the actual company, but that I have a little time on still. I've been having similar thoughts about just prints at conventions, especially since I haven't been doing well at conventions. I've been thinking, like, I want to work on the horror, and if I'm not working on the horror, maybe some autobio comics, and if not, if I'm working on, like, fan art, I want to do more scenes. I want to do more storytelling that could be cover art, like the equipment, I'm not being. I want to do variant covers. I want to do comic covers, and I've had a really hard time getting any opportunity in that. But if I do these cards, I get the payment I get, and maybe like 1 or 2 people like my art, but then they follow me for cards, and I'm not really doing cards. If I do these bigger pieces that are like comic covers, I will get more of a following that will follow the type of work I want to do, and could potentially make it into a print. I'm not making these cards into a print. I've only made 1 card into a print ever, and it was like, it wasn't like, oh, I'll make it into a print. It was like I kind of had to redraw parts of it to fit the dimensions, and I had to recolor it, and it didn't sell very well. Even though I was happy with the art. And I'm not saying I might not take some of this art and repurpose it and redo it and make it into a print, but it's not easy. It's not the same as taking a commission and making it into a print, or taking one of these potential, like the Red Ranger one I'm doing is essentially an homage cover, and I could work on it a little bit more and make it into a print. Or actually, I might be able to make it into a print straight away now that I think about it. But I could reorganize it and make it into a mock-up cover. And I want to get a little portfolio of like, hey, here's variant covers. Not that have been printed, not that have been paid for necessarily, just like, here is what it would look like if I did a variant cover. And on that note, I have a lot of ones that I was sort of pitching that never went anywhere that I could just finish, make prints of, put up somewhere, use as examples if opportunities arise. So it would still work as fan art. It would still be in genres I like. I could make money off it, and I could advertise for jobs I want. Whereas these cards just sort of go nowhere. I've been doing this for years, and like all of a sudden I'm getting these commissions, which is great. But up until now, nobody even like knew, and that's fine because I wasn't trying to make it as a sketch card artist. But I don't know, it's a very confusing thing. The big incentive, other than, hey, I got to do these cards and put it on my resume and whatever, but I've done 4 series now, or I will have done 4 series now, 5 if you include the Mystery Science Theater one I did, where I did a lot of Godzilla stuff in that one. Whatever cachet, whatever resume building, I got it. It's on there. I've done it. Now I'm just doing it. I don't know why. So I have X amount of APs left that I can't sell blank. So what I'll probably do is finish out these commissions, then not take any more commissions and do whatever I want on the others and just put them up on sites, eBay, whatever, and then be done with it. That's kind of my loose plan. It's a good problem to have. It's a first world problem to have. Oh, woe is me. But I'm at like an artistic crossroads where I'm like, am I going to just say no to this source of income and fans and stuff? Who am I to do that? But if I'm not happy doing it and I can afford to say no to the money and look for income elsewhere, yeah. Did you want food? She's like, I'm not waiting for you. The kid had been sleeping in for a little while. But we're back to getting up, A, random times, but B, pre-7 a.m. times, which is not my favorite. And like yesterday and today, I felt like a brick waking up. Today I was in the middle of a dream. I was going back to art school with Paul Rudd. It was a whole thing. Man, I'm really working and reworking on this Red King. The process video will probably be up. I'm at a place called Rival Coffee, which I've never heard of before. Well, actually, that's not true. I heard of it a few weeks ago, and now I'm here again. I got this cookie, what is it called? Cookie butter? Some kind of sweet coffee, and actually a really good avocado toast, better than my usual. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I went to Target, and I'm going to see Godzilla. And I have about an hour to kill, and it's right next door. So I'm doing that. I'm sitting outside. It's actually colder than I thought. That's why the hood on. It's like 50 something. Normally I'd have my fingerless gloves for drawing. I'm gonna be here less than an hour, so hopefully I can maintain. But I am working, which is good. So even though I'm taking like a mental health day or whatever you want to call it, I am getting some work done. The other Red King, I'm just going to leave languish. I may or may not ever finish it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to finish this up, get this set done, and move on. The person who had requested the 19 sketch cards, I can't believe what I'm going to say, but I said to them, hey, I'm sorry, but I can't take this work. I have a lot of work going on. I didn't get into the whole thing of I don't know if I want to be a sketch card artist anymore, but I said, I have like a bunch of sketch cards ahead of you, plus some other commitments and life stuff, and I think it'd be irresponsible of me to take it at this time. It took me, 4 or 5 days to get back to you to this email because I haven't had time to really go over it properly. I couldn't even start this job for months. And I did say they wanted one for themselves. I said, if you want me to do the one for you, I will do that since, we have a previously thing here. Turned down for what? Anyway, I hope I don't get a copyright strike. But, stopped and restarted to break the continuity of the music. I don't know if that'll matter. They were super understanding, and they said something like, oh yeah, I get it, don't worry about it, and maybe I'll talk to the other people and we could cut that list down a bit. and do something when you're ready. And I said, well, reach out to me in a few months and we'll see where I'm at. So I didn't want to completely shut them down because they were being so nice and that they're a good client and a nice person. And who knows, maybe in 3 or 4 months, I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll knock out some sketch cards because my schedule will be better. I'll be caught up. I don't know. The thing is, the only reason I was even considering still doing it was because of the preschool stuff that is starting next week. But I don't want to bank my whole life on like, once I get a few extra hours a week, I'll be a superhero, because that might not happen. It might not work out. Maybe she can't stay there. Maybe she, who knows? So I want to assume that I don't have that time. And even if I do, life has shown me that I am slow and find ways to not get work done anyway. So speaking of which, I should be getting work done right now, so I'm going to get back to that. One came out. Watermelon. Oh, watermelon. Sunday, late afternoon, early evening. I finished the second Red King image, which I spent a long time on. And this is the kind of thing, like, I should make a print of it, but who knows what I'm going to do. And I reduced it. And part of my goal, because the other one I liked, maybe even better. It's this was the original. It's the sort of thing where, like, this one actually is a little bit maybe more technically accurate on model. I don't know. This one's a little more dynamic, and I spotted some blacks a little better. But I thought, well, this one will be easier to translate and transfer to a card. And I did like that. I like this background better, a little more dynamic, looks a little bit more like a comic book cover as opposed to a panel, whatever. But then I get down here and I'm like, oh, but it's harder. The head is smaller. Everything's a little bit smaller. The pose is less dynamic, but anyway, I'm working on it. So far, so good. I feel confident about all this, but going in with this little detail work, I think I'm going to leave a lot of it out and just put markers in and hope that I could pull it together with the inks. Yeah. Meanwhile, that person that wanted me to do 19, I sort of told them no, and they came back politely, but sort of insistently, like once or twice, of like, hey, well, I'm just going to send you the money in the cards, and you get to it, and you can. I'm like, no, don't send me anything, please. And so that's where we're at with that. I didn't say I would never do it. I said, I'm not doing it right now. I said, talk to me again in a few months. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I've definitely, and the person that I'm working on these for pinged me twice looking for updates. Nothing wrong with that. They should be done by now. I'm not, again, it's this weird thing where it's like kind of this vague deadline where I'm not like blowing a deadline, but like, they should have been done by now. So, and they ping me again and I'm like, I'll try to get them done by the end of the week. And I sent them the pictures of the 4 that I have inked. And they're doing nothing wrong, to be clear. But it did remind me like, why am I thinking about taking another commission when I'm having trouble getting the commissions I have done? So yeah, I'm definitely done with commissions for a while, maybe who knows how long. I got the pencils in. I think the only part I'm actually significantly worried about is the face. But I actually used a circle template for the first time in years to get that circle right there. So it's just interesting. Well, it's Tuesday. I'm walking away from the post office, having just dropped off 2 prints. The kid is at daycare, preschool, whatever you want to call it, for the first time ever. And I have a lot of mixed feelings about that. Mostly positive. I think it's good for her. I think it's great for me. But it's just weird to have given my child to strangers. Hope it's going to be okay. And we prepared as best we could. And but this 4-hour chunk, like I hung out outside the school for 15 minutes. I'm going to go to a coffee shop. The school is like a block away from where I am right now. And it's only, I think, 7 minutes from my house. But I'm like, I better hang in the area in case there's a problem. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit of anxiety, not a lot, not an unusual. I think a normal amount, but I definitely don't feel like free time now. I think that's gonna take a little getting used to. It's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. After getting back from school, the kid went into independent play and book time and did their own thing for a while. I did some household chores. I didn't do much work today. I went to a couple stores. I got my avocado toast. I did a sketch. So anyway, the only drawing I did was of Godzilla. It was just a digital sketch of Godzilla from New Empire curled up in the Coliseum, sleeping like a cat. And I went back and forth between like, do I want to make it a cat? Do I want to make it Godzilla? Is it a cat in a Godzilla suit? What am I doing? And I just ended up doing a sketch and it wasn't finished. And I allowed myself to do that because it's something I felt like doing for fun. Maybe it could be turned into a print. But yeah, I just allowed myself to not work on anything that I had to work on, which is probably a bad choice, business-wise, but good choice mental health-wise. And then, yeah, I went to a couple stores and got home and took a shower and just relaxed for a minute and went to pick her up. And then since we've been back, when I got home, then I basically did a bunch of chores, you know, like laundry, dishes, boring stuff like that. And sat on the bed for a little while and watched a YouTube video. And now we're hanging out in the backyard, and she played in the backyard by herself like the most she's ever done. A lot of what I've been talking about, like, I mean, if you've been watching these last couple of videos, you've definitely seen me delve more into my struggles than I ever have. And things are easier now than they have been over the last few years. I just didn't talk about it a lot. But things are turning a corner. Things are still kind of hard, but a lot of things are like right on the precipice of turning a corner. And today, having that preschool break, which I'm gonna have again tomorrow, it was very nice. And now coming back and re-engaging with her, I have more energy, more patience, more enthusiasm. It's just I think I'm a decent parent, but I think I'm a much better parent having had a break. Reference, illumination, toys, the work. It's Friday. Today has been a lot better than I thought it was going to be. The lack of sleep, I've had coffee and it's worked. Sometimes I have coffee and it doesn't work. I felt okay. The kid has been fairly okay. We did watch a fair amount of TV this morning, more than we usually do. But we went to Target and picked something up, and I got myself a coffee while I was out. And she did good in independent play, and she took a nap, which is good because she's sick and she needs it. And it also gives me extra time because the first part of independent play and book time, I wasn't really utilizing it. I mean, I was doing things, but I wasn't utilizing it to do art. And I said to myself, if she takes a nap, I'm gonna do art. And she took a nap. It's been about an hour now, and I've been doing art. I finished this Red King sketch card, which I struggled with and redrew. It's good. It's fine. I saved it. I was very happy with the digital rough. Then I did the inks, and they were pretty good. And then I went in with some of the blacks, and I thought I was a little too heavy-handed. And then I kind of saved it with the color, and then I didn't like it. And like I got it to a point where like, okay, this is good. I'm not embarrassed to hand this in. It's not exactly what I had in mind originally, but it works. And I did always have the idea that it'd be sort of like a sun or illumination of some sort behind them. So that's done, which is good, completely. So then I have 4 more to finish. I started working on this. This is Imitation Ultraman, which is basically looks just like Ultraman, but they're evil. It's just like they take the form of Ultraman, but fool no one. I had the idea to make the eyes kind of glowing and like a little bit of energy coming out of it. That I might go back in and re-outline them. I'm not sure, but this is a problem I've had. Every group batch of Ultraman cards I've done, I've made this exact same mistake. I do all the lines. It's all red and silver. I do all the lines, and then I get in here, and I'm like, okay, let me start. I'll do a little light pink to start, and then I'll get darker as I go, start light to dark, and I did it there. The middle is supposed to be red. The side, those two are supposed to be silver, you see? Mess that up. So how do I fix it? Add more to areas where it isn't. And now this is just like a little color splash, a little light from somewhere else. That's not me getting red wrong. That's me just putting, richer color. She's been asleep about an hour and 20 minutes, going on about an hour and a half. It's coming up at 4 o'clock. I'm going to go wake her up so she doesn't stay up all night. I did finish the second colors. This is the Imitation Ultraman. I adjust the eyes a little bit. I ended up inking some of the lines black. I ended up making black lines on some of the lines that were colored lines. I kind of like the way I did the lighting on this and the coloring. Yeah, I got to sign the back. This one came together a lot quicker than the other one, so I got 3 more to color. So on the one hand, I was trying to give myself permission to rest up. On the other hand, I worried about my deadline. I'm like, well, I have this weekend. But then I was like, what if I get sick? Then I won't want to do these. And regardless if I get sick or not, the kid is definitely more sick than she was. Evidenced by the fact that she took a nap on her bed and peed on it. She hasn't peed her bed in months, but she's sick. So now I had to do another load of laundry and redo her bed. So I'm glad I did the work I did, but now I'm like, I got to get those other 3 done today, because if I get sick tomorrow on top of everything else, they're never getting done. This was the last one, Gusera. There's the Imitation Ultraman. Bolton Seijin, which all of these have good things and bad things about them. There's Gamora. This was the simplest one. Every time I've drawn Gamora, I've had the easiest time. Not my favorite kaiju, but just very simple. Here's an explosion, whatever. And then Red King. I don't mind as much now that I'm looking at it again. Out of these, I think my favorite is this one, just because I experimented with the coloring a little bit and I liked it. This one's good, but it was just so much better. Well, they were all so much better in the roughs. These two are my least favorite. This one, I think I was too heavy-handed with the color, although some people like that. I like a more subtle color, so I don't think it's wrong. I think it's just not my taste. This one, it looks fine, but I know how much I labored over it. So yeah, that one's fine. This one's fine. That's my favorite, for sure. And I'm really glad I finished these because I wasn't supposed to be on morning shift tomorrow. I was supposed to be able to sleep in till 1. And so I was like, well, I'll finish this up, do whatever. But I found out because of events of life and the way things going, I'm waking up with the kid and I'll be on duty either until 10 or until 1, depending. She's been sick. If she's feeling well enough to go to a kid's birthday party, doesn't matter. The point is the schedule got flipped around and I feel a little tickle in my throat. Could be nothing, could be me getting sick. So I have 2 other commissions that I have to do, but they're not due like tomorrow or this week. The first one is due the end of the month. So if I can't work on it tomorrow and I get sick and I can't work for a few days, which I hope doesn't happen, I'll be okay. Saturday morning, it's going on 9. It's weird. The kid is definitely sick. I don't know if she's more sick than she was yesterday or not, but she woke me up at 6, whatever. I've been up. I felt a little bit sick this morning, stuffy, whatever, but it's that kind of thing where I blew my nose and I coughed a little bit out and I more or less feel okay now. That doesn't mean it won't get worse, but regardless. I packaged up all the sketch cards from yesterday. They're going to China, so I had to fill out all this extra paperwork and stuff. I would like to get to the post office today before 1 to send them, but I might not be able to do that, so I might have to send them Monday. But they're all ready to go. There was a flaw in the back of one of them, and I showed them like the ink had come off because some whiteout got on it, and they're like, that's fine. And it's funny because I have 3 main commissions for sketch cards right now, or in this time period. And one is just someone that's like, I love what you do. Everything you do is great. And like no real input other than this is great and I want more art and you're the best and you're a genius, to the point where it's like kind of uncomfortable. The other is the one that I just got ready to send out, and they have been, and there's a broken English thing there. These are all from China, so, you know, that's understandable, but it's more like, you can do these. When can you have them done? Are they done yet? This is what I want. Oh, you did them? Great, please send them. And like no color commentary, no these look good, no I'm excited, and nothing. Fine. The third one, which is the next one coming up, which I had done a rough of, is the one I may have complained about, the person who wanted like the nurse character, nurse being a monster, not like the human aid person, but they were trying to make it like a King Ghidorah character, and then they wanted a Dragon Ball homage, and I sort of did what they wanted, just to be done and stop arguing about this other thing that I couldn't legally do. But it was like way more direction. It was like, that's like more direction than I get when I do like an 11 by 17 commission for hundreds of dollars. It was just like, okay, fine, but I want to be done. This is like little sketch cards. And I, just by coincidence, because I wasn't really working on that one yet, I had done a full layout rough for the next 2 cards. Because they also wanted, this is also the people that wanted characters versus each other. Like they wanted 2 or 3 characters fighting on each card, which some artists might do, but I'm like, that's not how I do this. If you want them fighting, then it's, 2 cards and whatever. What they call a puzzle card set or something. And so anyway, they messaged me last night, this morning, whatever, and was like, hey, for the next card, this Ultra 7 versus Guts card, did you do your rough yet? Because I just rewatched the episode and I've got some ideas. I already didn't like that, but luckily I had just done my rough a week or 2 ago. So I said, yup, and I sent them the rough. Like, here it is. This is what I'm going to do. And they said, okay, cool. Well, I'd like to make some adjustments. And then they literally, like an art teacher or an art director, wrote on top of it, like move this here and change the color of this. And gave me pose pictures. And here's the thing. It's not unreasonable for somebody to want what they want. And I've had critiques like this, and some of what they're saying, it's not objectively correct or incorrect. It's not like they're fixing a mistake I made. This is just their opinion. Subjectively, they think this would be better. They might be right. Certainly they're right in the sense that that's what they want. But I'm looking at it as, you're not giving me that much money, and I have to draw on a thing this big, and it's the work I've put in already is already like, that's the thing of like hours I've put into dealing with this person that doesn't really count towards the price they're giving me, which again, isn't nothing, but it's not enough to justify this level of input. And I already went through this for like explaining how, I've just had to explain so much. Like, no, you can't get those characters on these cards. Why not? And then I have to like explain, it's like talking to my kid. Like they don't just take my answers. Like, I'm just not making stuff up. I legally can't do this. Well, why can't you put more than one on it? It's like, I technically can, but it won't come out as good. That's not how I work. I don't feel, just take my answer. This is what it is. If you don't like it, then don't work with me. You know, like it's, I don't know. It's just weird. But again, they're like, you're so great and I love everything you do. Like, and it's like, so it's like a weird combo of like, if you like an artist and you trust them and you like their work, then let them work, or find another artist, you know? And there have been times in my career when I'm walking in circles here, where I'm more desperate for money, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I better just do what they say, and not ask for money, more money, and blah blah blah, because I need this dollar. And again, I'm in a very privileged position where I can afford to say no, but I already said yes. This is the thing I'm learning. It's weird. It's a reverse thing. Normally it's like, get a deposit because people will screw you out of money. Get a deposit, get this and that. But now I'm dealing with this thing where I'm like not really ready to work on stuff, and people are paying me up in full and then like working with me when I'm not ready to work with them, and like giving me all this stuff, and I'm like kind of trapped because they didn't say, here's all this stuff I want and blah, 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 blah. Now, do you want to do that? They're like, hey, can you do some sketch cards? Yes. Here's the list of characters I want. Okay, here's your money. Great. Now here's a bunch of demands. And that's an uncomfortable place to be in, and I don't like it. So I went through the first thing, but now they wrote me this, and they're all this stuff, and they're like all these little demands and stuff. And so I said, and again, because I also don't want to be doing sketch cards. Like if this was like a variant cover or something where I was like, well, I want to get return clients. Like I want to be done doing this kind of art anyway. So I'm in a very bad, good position where I'm willing to just speak my mind and just, politely. And so I can't read it because I'm on my phone, but I paraphrasing, I said something along the lines of, they said that was the other thing. They said all this, and then they said, thanks, like, can you do this? And then instead of waiting for me to answer, they said thanks, like assuming I can. And this person, again, communication, English might be a barrier, but they've had a very weird sort of entitled passive aggressiveness where they're like, you're a great artist. I love your work. Can you do this for me? Great. I know you can. And it's like, that's not how this works, Anyway, I said, hey, you're asking for too much detail, revision, input, control on this project. I said, this isn't a 11 by 17 large commission that you're getting. This is a sketch card. And for the size and the price, usually people just say, this is the character I want, and that's the end of it. You're wanting a lot more input and control. Now, here's where I think I did the exact right thing. I established my issue, but what I said was, I said, and this is true, this isn't BS, maybe we're not a good fit. And this comes back to like firing your client or whatever. I said, and it's awkward because they've already given me the money. I said, maybe we're not a good fit. I said, if you're looking for someone, I said, if you are willing to just let me do what I want, then we'll continue. If you're looking to have more input and control and influence over the final product, then I think I should refund your money and you could find a different artist to work with. No hard feelings either way. And I mean that sincerely, because I don't actually, as much as I'm like complaining, I have no hard feelings. This is a person who likes my art, who likes Ultraman, who likes sketch cards, who wants to pay to have art created, wants to pay to have my art created. So I have nothing but love for this person in general. But that's when it occurred to me, maybe this isn't a good fit. They're not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just not a good fit. Or maybe they don't know the quote unquote rules. Maybe they don't know the etiquette, and that's fine too. But I'm just sort of telling them like, this is how it is. And if that's cool, great. And if it's not, you could have your money back, because I haven't really started. I've done some roughs and I've done a lot of talking, but it's like a sunk cost fallacy where, well, I put this much work into it, I better keep going. Or no, I could just be done and get something off my plate. And honestly, I'd be relieved if they said they didn't want me to do it at this point. So we'll see how it goes. The second I got done recording that, they've responded. And again, I have no hard feelings, and they seem to be lovely, because they said, hey, sorry, I didn't mean to offend, and then they said, basically, I'll give you an extra $50 to make these revisions. I really like your art, and I want to have a sense of participation in creating it. Which is tough, because they're apologizing, they're owning that maybe they overstepped a little, they're offering to pay more money, which was one of the things that normally costs more money, which is great. But the main thing they want is to participate in the creation of the art. And that's the main thing I don't want them to do. There's that old sign of like, it's like, I think it's a mechanic or something that applies to art and everything. It's like, oh, here's the price. Here's the price if you want to watch. Here's the price if you want to talk. Here's the price if you want to help. And it goes up. Like if you want to help, it costs more, which is what they're seeing now. I'm going to not respond right now, figure it out later, and stop walking in circles. Week continues to be a poop show. I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday. In addition to all the other stuff that happened, I had to do 2 loads of laundry because the morning my kid decided to spit all over her bed sheets and one of her stuffed animals, and everything's always an accident. Oh, sorry, I accidentally spit on everything, and it's like, you can't do that, but whatever. So I had to do that load of laundry on top of the 2 loads I had already done. So I didn't expect to do that. So I'm actually like putting things in plastic bags, like clean bags, because I have nowhere to put the clean laundry because I haven't had time to put it away. Now I've got like 3 loads, but that's not all. Even though she's potty trained and hasn't had an accident in weeks, she decided to have an accident. So then I had to do a load of wash for the pee. So that was fun too. And then she stopped puking and seems to be mostly okay. There's no fever, but she's very stuffy. So last night, she woke up at least every hour. The first 3 or 4 times, screaming like she's dying. Like, "Wah!" I thought she was gonna puke. I thought she was having a nightmare. And I went in there and she's still kind of half asleep. And it's just like, I have a stuffy nose. Okay, so after that, I stopped running in there as fast. But, 3 or 4 times in the middle of the night, I woke up with like a shot of adrenaline. The rest of the times I woke up kind of like, oh, yeah, okay. But I got no sleep. And she's supposed to go to preschool today. But she's just sick enough that I can't send her in, but not sick enough where she's just going to lay in bed and be resting all day. So it's, yeah. And now I'm on the verge of being actually late with getting this first batch of sketch cards done because it was kind of already supposed to be done, but I was like, I'll have them done by the end of this week. And they're not, and it's Friday, but everything's terrible. I just have no time to do anything. And when I do, I'm super burnt out physically, emotionally, mentally. This was going to be the big week to turn everything around. And it's kind of been one of the worst weeks in a long time. What else? I have a Power Rangers print commission that's due by the end of this month. And I'm worried about that too. This is too much. And again, first world problems, oh, woe was me, but it's just, I hate it.
So very glad. You're a very nice little good boy. You're good. I'm so very glad.